Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These
Well, hello everyone. Whoops. Let me pull this back a little. It is freezing cold down here. My goodness. How are you doing? Yes, I know, whatchamacallit, Bunchy. I know Bunchy is still freaking the hell out. So, sorry about that. Can't help it. I haven't had a chance to deal with him yet. But before we get started, before I forget, I had promised the authors of this book, Libertarianism. I want to read the full title. John Hosper's The Libertarian Party's 50th Anniversary and Beyond. I promised them that I would be giving this book a bit of a shout out. It came out during a time when a lot of people were really preoccupied with COVID and things like that. And I don't know how many people are aware it is out. It is very much worth adding to your Liberty bookshelf. And I am saying that either because of or in spite of, depending upon your opinion, that I do have 2 chapters in it. But that's not why I'm promoting it. I'm promoting it just because, A, the editors are fantastic liberty activists. And it really is a wonderful tribute to John Hosper's. You might not agree with everyone who has chapters in here, but it definitely is an edition you need on your shelf. If you're curious as to the chapters I wrote, one of them, well, let's read the titles because I want to get the title exactly right. let me see if I can find it. It's been a bit. So Unearthing and Preserving, which is about the Libertarian Party historical work that I do. But the one that actually, and that won't be controversial whatsoever. An essentially libertarian view of abortion is neither conservative nor progressive. And in that article, which I have read out on this show several times, I don't argue for a position. Like, have whatever position on abortion that you want. In that article, I argue or plead whatever side you're arguing for, or nuance of whatever side you're arguing for. Argue like a libertarian, please. Do not make your arguments indistinguishable from Republicans and Democrats, or conservatives and progressives. There are libertarian arguments to be made, and that's the type of arguments we should be making. So if you're interested in that, that is in here. So that is the promo for today. Along the bottom as well, if you enjoy this type of content, I would truly, can I do a third truly appreciate it if you would become a patron at patreon.com/pink flame of liberty. I'm going to start setting goals for it again. I've been so busy just, helping out members who are getting screwed over by certain segments of more local, not national party leadership, that I just really haven't been able to pay attention to the growth of this channel, which is, one of my first loves. But of course, I am always there to defend member rights, which is a higher priority to me. But I'm going to get back into developing this. And Dave Casey, fellow asshole. Dave Casey. Oh, Jason, Facebook won't redirect you. Interesting. A lot of people just show up on my YouTube channel, which is Pink Flame of Liberty. But I appreciate you here in any event. If you feel like going over to YouTube, it does help my algorithm, and that helps the very limited ad revenue I get. It's so funny where people think like, oh, the sweet, sweet ad money that I get, right? Like last term, the big controversy. I make like $10 a month in ad revenue, but I don't sneeze upon that. $10 is $10, I'm a filthy capitalist. I'll take it. But yes, so patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. Speaking of filthy capitalists. Now we're going to get right on to ballot access. And damn, I need to add my Facebook account back to this computer because I can't pull up my Facebook account here, or I need to bring my laptop. But if you go to my personal profile, I shared a ballot access post from 2 years ago that I think would be really interesting to share on this program. So maybe next time, which just talked about which states use presidential vote totals to grant ballot access, because and information along those lines. A lot of people just don't know that information, so I'd like to repeat it again. Now, I'm sure some of it changed from 2 years ago, but it'll still be pretty close to accurate. And hello, JJ, how are you doing? So we're going to try to, well, we're not just going to try. Whatever we get to tonight's all I'm going to cover in ballot access news. We need to move on to November. Tomorrow night, I hope I'm going to be able to stream. Tomorrow and Thursday are going to be rough. I'm getting ready for an LNC meeting. Tomorrow night, I'll be freshly pinked. So this really faded and my roots grown out. Wayne's going to do my hair tomorrow. But I'm not sure if we're doing it before or after the show. But we're doing it tomorrow. Allegedly. So we'll see how that goes. And Thursday night is the Libertarian Party of Douglas County meeting. So it would have to be after that. And then I'm flying out early AM on Friday for the LNC meeting. So it's a jam-packed week. All right. So enough with the chatter. Let's get on to the ballot access. So here it talks about, I'm not going to read this section. It's kind of long, but if you're interested in an analysis of how Supreme Courts have done on ballot access under different Chief Justices, there's a column here that talks about that with the headline, Roberts Court is the worst for ballot access since the Vinson Court. So again, if you subscribe to Ballot Access News, which I really, really do encourage you to do, that you can find out about by writing Richard Winger at richardwinger@yahoo.com. But I want to get into the stuff that's talking about specific states, because we dealt with more broad, not archaic concepts, but broad abstract concepts last time. So I want to get into the nitty-gritty this time. So Alaska eases definition of qualified party. So the rare good news. On September 12th, Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy signed SB 161, which eases the definition of a qualified party. The old law required registration of 3% of the last vote cast. Last vote cast for what? I think Richard missed a word here. Let's see. Well, the new law requires 5,000 registered members. The effect of the new law is to restore the Libertarian Party to the ballot. And 5,000 registered members is a lot for a smaller state like that. In Colorado, our ballot access is guaranteed by 1,000 registrants. We have really, really, really good ballot access laws here in Colorado. But listen, I'll take it. And the fact that it restored the Alaska Libertarian Party to the ballot is excellent. All right. New Mexico court removes county commissioner for insurrection. Okay, I did a post on this today. I'm tired of the qualifiers. Anyone who doesn't know that I'm not a fan of Trump, well, you're just brain dead, and let's just leave it at that. But equally brain dead is calling what happened on January 6th an insurrection, and it's an insult to both good and bad and real insurrectionists everywhere, including the people who founded this country. As I said on both Twitter, Facebook, and MeWe, the Revolutionary War was an insurrection. Some dude with cow horns yelling at the moon is not an insurrection. So on September 6th, a New Mexico state trial court removed, oh my God, I don't know how to pronounce this name. How do you pronounce Couy? I've never even seen that name before. Like Couy? Coey. We're just going to say Coey. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Coey Griffin from his office as an Otero County Commissioner for his actions on January 6, 2021, under the 14th Amendment's Insurrection Clause. He was arrested for trespassing, but not convicted. He is appealing. And if he wasn't convicted, wow. This country's just turning into a complete authoritarian hellscape. All right. Okay, so ballot access wins. So it looks like this ballot access news actually has a good deal of ballot access good news. So Michigan, on September 8th, the state Supreme Court ruled that initiative should be on the ballot, even though the state canvassing board had removed it, because the petition's description of the measure had no spaces between the words, making it difficult to read. The initiative is on the subject of abortion. I don't actually think this is good news. I think I'm going to disagree with Richard Winger here. I don't know why I have such a hard time with his name. Having no spaces between the words and making an initiative difficult to read, I don't consider that a win for freedom. I consider that a way to try to purposely confuse voters, particularly on such a contentious issue as abortion. So, boo, I don't agree with this. You got to put spaces between the words. This isn't like the Old Testament Torah, like old Hebrew, where you didn't put spaces between the words and you counted on vowel pointers. What the heck? Okay, we're just going to have to respectfully disagree with Mr. Winger here. Missouri, on September 12th, a state appeals court ruled that an initiative should remain on the ballot. The county election officials, and there's a typo there. Had found that it lacked enough valid signatures, but then the Secretary of State reviewed their work and found enough additional valid signatures to qualify. Then opponents of the initiative, which concerns the devil's lettuce, he didn't put it that way, but I just did because I think that's funny, had sued the Secretary of State, but the court said the Secretary of State had the authority to do what he did, and the state Supreme Court refused to disturb the ruling. That's a good one. And boo-hoo to you opponents. Scared to let people vote on it, are you? Well, I probably shouldn't be so sarcastic about that, because if this was like for Medicare for all or something, I guess I would do anything I could to defeat it. So I guess if you really think it's the devil's lettuce, but still. North Dakota, on September 9th, the state Supreme Court ruled that an initiative, this seems to be all about initiatives so far, initiative does have enough valid signatures. The Secretary of State had invalidated all the signatures processed by two particular notaries public who had committed errors involving a few sheets, but the court said that was not justified. The initiative concerns term limits. Ohio, on September 20th, the state Supreme Court restored, oh my God, another name that I can't pronounce. Terpsichore? Terpsehore? What kind of name is that? That reminds me of Hepzibah from the House of Seven Gables. So, Terpsichore P. Maris to the ballot as an independent candidate for Secretary of State. The Secretary had said she was 7 signatures off. What a heartbreaker. And had refused to count more signatures found valid by the counties and transmitted to him a few days later than the original transmission. Okay, that's good news. As a result, there are now only 2 states with no minor party or independent candidates for statewide office, although a few states don't have any statewide races. Those 2 states are Kentucky and Washington. And I don't know why Kentucky and Washington. Ken Molman, if you happen to be here this evening, why don't you guys have any statewide candidates on the ballot? And in Washington, I'm curious too, because even though there is a petition requirement in Washington, though that might just be for president. There's like 1,000 signature requirement. It's like somewhat low for a statewide race. And 1,000 would be a lot for not a statewide race, but 1,000's not really a lot for a statewide race. I mean, it's a pain in the ass. Don't get me wrong. I had to get only 25 valid here, and I thought that was a pain in the ass. On September 22nd, the state Supreme Court put Eric Ungaro, an independent running for state legislature, on the ballot. He had been kept off because election officials felt that his campaign literature hinted that he was really a Democrat. Wow, so you're judging his campaign literature? Ohio law on who can be an independent candidate is extremely arbitrary, I'll say. So that was 2 wins in Ohio. Texas. And what state are you in again, David Davis? Texas, on August 26th, the state Supreme Court kept Libertarian Party candidates on the ballot who had not paid a filing fee. In Ray Keith Self. The candidates had been challenged by their Republican opponents, and we've talked about this. There was a lot of wins in Texas, and David... Oh, yeah, you're in Iowa. Derp, I knew that. I'm tired and old. Oh. The candidates had been challenged, but the court said the challenge had been filed too late. Boo-hoo, Republicans. Okay, Texas number 2. On September 16th, a state trial court ruled that independent candidate Linda Curtis, who is running for legislature, should remain on the ballot. Her opponent had challenged her on the basis that some of the blanks on some petition sheets had not been filled out. The court said all the missing information was shown on those sheets in other places. Wow, so they tried to invalidate her on a technicality? Utah. On September 12th, a U.S. District Court refused to remove a Republican legislative candidate from the ballot. The Utah Democratic Party had filed the lawsuit and argued that the nominee, Joel Ferry, was not eligible because he had been appointed to an executive position in state government. this is interesting. The court said that even though he is ineligible, it doesn't follow that he can't run, because if he is reelected, he can resign. That is really interesting. Now, I'm always going to be in favor of more ballot freedom, but I think that's a really interesting question. Do you have to be eligible at the time you're running? I guess it probably depends upon what kind of eligibility requirement. In this one, it was curable. You can resign. But if it was something like based upon age, you can't make yourself older, Hey, Dave. Yes, looking forward to seeing you this weekend as well. Okay, ballot access losses. Boo, I thought this whole page was wins. So, now that we're on to the losses, it's Grand Marnier time, so we can drown ourselves in our sorrows. Florida, on August 25th, the 11th Circuit denied injunctive relief to the People's Party. God, I need to get back into going over the People's Party, which had been trying to qualify its candidate for county office. Another typo. Hey, Richard Winger, if you ever watch this, I'll write you. If you need someone to do like a second read at these things, not saying that I very rarely find errors, but if you do need a second set of eyes, I'd be more than glad to volunteer for that. I think this is valuable work. Then on August 31st, the U.S. District Court said the case is moot and dismissed it. The party has asked for rehearing. People's Party versus Florida Secretary of State. The issue is the law that says new party, wow, check this out. New parties can't run any candidates in their first year of existence. Boo-hoo, Florida, you suck. I mean, you don't suck on some things, and I'm from Florida, so I'm allowed to say that. So any Florida man, don't get ass mad. I'm from Florida. The federal judges who are handling this case seem unaware that constitutional ballot access cases are not moot just because it's too late to give injunctive relief. And Dave says for U.S. Senate and Iowa, 3,500, including at least 100 signatures from at least 19 counties. Ooh, that's rough. We have that for initiatives now in Colorado, and it's super tough. It's not that number. I don't know what the number is, but certain percentages need to be from all the counties. And I'm sure this is true in Iowa as well, but we've got some rural counties where there isn't like a lot of public gathering places to gain signatures. You have to like go door to door, and it's farms. Okay, let's continue. So there was a win in Michigan. There's also a loss. I was going to say a loss in Michigan. On September 14th, the state Supreme Court refused any relief to Highland Park City Council, to candidate for Highland Park, who had been removed because they didn't check a box on their candidacy forms that indicated if they're running as party nominees or as independent candidates. Highland Park elections are nonpartisan, so the candidates believe that the question, another typo, Richard, was irrelevant. You must have been in a real hurry to get this one out, and I get it. We're in election season, so mad props for doing this no matter what. I'm a grammar Nazi. I confess. One of the justices wrote separately to say that the legislature should amend the law. It's the law! As a result of the decision, there are fewer candidates on the city council ballot than there are vacancies to fill. Wow. Missouri, so there was a win, and now there's a loss. On August 31st, the 8th Circuit ruled that county distribution requirements are constitutional for initiatives. We were just talking about that, Dave. You were talking about it for partisan office. I was talking about for initiatives, but same concept. The case is from Nebraska. Oh, so it's not a Missouri case, but it was the 8th Circuit. Got it. This decision conflicts with several Ninth Circuit opinions. South Carolina, on August 18th, a state trial court removed the Labor Party nominees for governor, lieutenant governor, and U.S. House from the ballot on the grounds that the party's nominating conventions had been held too late. The Democratic Party brought the lawsuit. You know, it just really pisses me off when parties bring these lawsuits. Now, I know they'll just get puppet plaintiffs, but still, it's like, it's not enough for you to be part of the duopoly, I guess. You know, it's just, I just think it's so gross. Okay. So we covered that. And then the next 2 pages, like we talked about last time, are that cool chart. So now we just have the back page. So that's good. We're going to get through this and we'll start fresh tomorrow on it. All things November. Maybe we'll do a party history tomorrow. Because those, you know, I read raw to you. It doesn't take much prep time. So that would help. Though I have to be honest with you, a lot of what I do doesn't take prep time. I like giving you my contemporaneous reactions to things. Maybe that's just my justification for being lazy. I've got a bunch of pre-recorded ones I need to do, though, that just aren't going to work in a live format. Oh, and I started to say Dave Casey, fellow asshole, and then I didn't say what I was going to say to Dave Casey. I think it was, or was it Dan Smots that said this to me? That I need to start combing through some of my old videos to get shorts and clips to put on TikTok and use in YouTube Shorts. So I listened to one today, and I'm going to do that, I think. So many Daves here. We are all Dave Benner. Even David Dassling. Alaska special election. Alaska held its first ranked choice election on August 16th for U.S. House to fill a vacancy. Mary Peltola, the only Democrat on that ballot, defeated her 2 Republican opponents, Sarah Palin and Nick Bajik. David Dassling is the David from which all other Daves spring. He is the font of Dave. 2 New Hampshire Libertarians win Democratic nominations. We know about this, and even though we're going to just cover it anyway, and I'm not going to make any comment. New Hampshire held its primary on September 13th. 2 Libertarian nominees who already qualified for the general election ballot by petition. Now, I didn't know they already qualified by petition, so I lied. I am going to give comment because I didn't know that. Interesting. I didn't know they already qualified by petition. I think some people have been spreading, I'm sure they were just mistaken, but I think people have been saying they couldn't, like, they failed to get signatures, so they, like, bitched out and went on the Democratic primary, and according to Richard Winger, that's not the case. So if that's what you thought, you were wrong. I'm not saying anyone said that maliciously. You know, one person says something and it gets spread a million times, but that's not the case. They did qualify by petition. JJ, I forgot what I needed to give you a voice clip for. Was it when I called you a douche? Or I said somebody else called you a douche for that shirt? I got to find that clip. They also won Democratic nominations via write-ins in the Democratic primary. Is there fusion in New Hampshire? Do you appear on 2 ballot lines? Can someone, if anyone knows that, will you let me know? They are Nick Sarwark running for Hillsborough County Attorney and Richard Manzo for County Treasurer. Oh, duh. If I just read further, it would have answered the question. I'm a dumbass. They will appear on the November ballot as both a Libertarian and Democratic. It was something from the MC train. What? Was it you yelling at people? And I don't have those videos anymore. I'll get it from Michael Heiss. Just try to remind me. There was a lot of really clippable moments from there. But I thought you wanted me to clip where I was saying on this show of that guy who, like, left the trainings and was furiously, like, PMing me going, "Who is this douche in the Mensa shirt?" Former North Carolina governor joins No Labels party. Everyone mute your bongs. I didn't know Did I know there was a no labels party? I think I knew there was a no labels party. Well, and I need a haircut. Like, look how scraggly it is, but I'm trying to grow my hair out, so I'm not going to cut it. Because, like, the layers are all fucked up, so I'm going to dye it tomorrow. But it's like with my nails, where I'm just dying to put on claws again, trying to grow out these nails, and I'm like, ah! So at least I'm putting fancy polish. I want to grow my hair to about here so that it's nice and healthy. Pat McCrory, who was a Republican governor of North Carolina 2012 through 2016, has joined the No Labels Party. That just reminds me like of the generic. Remember the generic foods when it was black and white with just a barcode? The No Labels Party is similar to Americans Elect, which existed in 2011 through 2012. It is working to support a centrist presidential candidate in 2024. You know, that's the chupacabra. Like, how many times are people like, oh, we just need a centrist candidate? Like, a million. Okay, maybe you'll do it. Maybe you guys are going to be the one who will do it. It's like communism. It sounds good on paper. And I don't even think communism sounds good on paper, but I'm just trying to... You're getting my point. Stop arguing with me. And is therefore petitioning for party status in as many states as possible. I've never heard of them here in Colorado. Maybe I'm just in my own bubble. So that the candidate will not face a difficult ballot access process. Ha! It expects to qualify in 11 states before the end of 2022. It denies that it is a political party, but legally it is seeking qualified status as a new party in various states. Okay, that's not as weird as it sounds. In some states, really, that's the only viable way. Like, the signature requirements are so large, and it's easier to get on the ballot if you seek to become a qualified party. Oregon Independent spent... Is this a typo? I gotta drink before I read this. If you all have booze, you need to drink, because you're not going to believe what I'm about to read. Everyone, do your best Holly Ward impression. It's not bourbon. Oregon Independent spent $897,000 to obtain ballot access. Ballot censorship, anyone? Voter suppression, anyone? Betsy Johnson. Isn't that a clothing designer? I have a bunch of Betsy Johnson shoes. I should run over and I got the Betsy Johnson, not this Betsy Johnson. Well, at least I don't think it's this Betsy Johnson. Makes the cutest clothes and shoes. Independent candidate for governor of Oregon spent $897,000 for professional petitioners in order to get 23,744 valid signatures. How much are signatures going for? Someone who's good at math, let's just round up. How much per signature is it if it costs $890,000 to get 24,000 valid signatures? Oh, but no, never mind. Valid. She collected 48,214. So let's just say 48,000 signatures for $890,000. How much is that a pop? And of the ones she got, 3,700 were valid. Okay, and we already covered the last paragraph, so that is it for today. Thank you, Richard Winger, for your work. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I needed to cover. I always give a few moments to see if there's any questions or closing comments. And while I'm waiting, again, I'm pimping this book. Supporting libertarian books also helps support the movement at large. And again, I'm very partial to Mr. John Hosper, so a tribute book. It's such a privilege to be part of this movement and to be in this book at the 50-year anniversary, not only documenting history, but becoming a part of it. All right, everyone, so I guess that is it. I will hopefully See you guys tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be pinker. If not pinker tomorrow, then Thursday. Definitely pinker for the LNC meeting. I hope you have an awesome night and love you all. Bye-bye.
Gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians, or choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business.